Officials have just admitted that coal power plants in the United States have killed nearly 500,000 people over the last 20 years. The official number is over 460,000. Unfortunately, I'm not making this up. We've discovered within the past few months that coal dust is far more poisonous than we ever knew. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. This is a really sad report here. Sad for all these families who probably never got anything out of this, never got any insurance money. There's probably plenty of children who lost their parents, didn't know why, didn't know what was going on, and therefore their lives would have been just horrendous in comparison to what they should have been. Authorities are now saying that US coal power plants killed at least 460,000 people over the past 20 years. Pollution caused twice as many premature deaths as previously thought, with updated understanding of dangers of PM 2.5. Coal power plants clearly are, shockingly bad and far worse than what we realized. Cars, factories, fire smoke, and electricity plants emit tiny toxic air pollutants known as fine particulate matter, or PM 2.5, which elevate the risk of an array of life-shortening medical conditions, including asthma, heart disease, low birth weight, and cancer. Researchers analyzed Medicare and emissions data from 1999 to 2020 over a 20-year period, and for the first time found that coal PM 2.5 is twice as deadly as fine particle pollutants from any other sources. That even includes emissions from diesel-powered cars. Previous studies quantifying the death toll from air pollution assumed all PM 2.5 sources pose the same risk. They don't. Therefore, they believe they've underestimated the dangers of coal power plants. They're far worse than what was realized. Fortunately, a lot of them are closing early, but there's still a lot of them. If you live near one, I would advise moving immediately. This is very, very serious. Government regulations save lives, according to the research, which is published in Science, which is one of the most respected medical journals worldwide. Most deaths happened when environmental standards were weakest and PM 2.5 levels from coal-fired power stations were the highest. Direct correlations are making this very, very obvious for researchers to pinpoint how many people have died as a result of coal power pollution. Air pollution from coal is much more harmful than we thought, and we've been treating it like it's just another air pollutant, said the author Lucas Henneman, an assistant professor in the Sid and Reva Dewberry Department of Civil, Environmental and Infrastructure Engineering at George Mason University. This type of evidence is important to policymakers like the EPA, the US Environmental Protection Agency, as they identify cost-effective solutions for cleaning up the country's air, like requiring emissions controls or encouraging renewables. Now, I reported on scandals going on at several power plants in the United States where they are continually lying about their emissions. Well, they know when inspectors are coming, they're told in advance, and then they're able to turn on a certain way of operating the power plants, which is very unusual. They don't normally operate that way. The inspectors come, they inspect the plant, they inspect pollutants, they go, oh, it's okay. And then as soon as they leave, they turn them back to how they normally operate, which is entirely different. There was investigative journalism done on this, which I reported on in a video, which is quite a long video, one of my longest videos. But it's very important that people know this, that power plants in the United States are far worse than you're being told. This is completely factual. It's not alarmist. It's true. Henneman led a group of researchers who used publicly available data to track air pollution and its health effects from the 480 US coal power plants that operated at some point between 1999 and 2020. A model was used to track the wind direction and reach of the toxins from each power station. Annual exposure levels were then connected with more than 650 million Medicare health records that covered most people over the age of 65 in the United States. The coal plants associated with most deaths were located east of Mississippi River in industrialized states like Ohio and Pennsylvania, where power stations were historically constructed close to population hubs. Couldn't have been any worse, right? You're right next to a coal power plant. You don't realize that it's poisoning you. But Every region had at least one plant linked to at least 600 deaths, while 10 were associated with more than 5,000 deaths across the study period. Now, the reality is, the closer you were to these coal power plants, the worse your exposure was, the higher the chances are that you died very, very early compared to what you would have otherwise. About 85% of the total 460,000 coal plant related deaths occurred between 1999 and 2007, an average of more than 43,000 deaths per year. The death toll declined drastically as plants closed, or scrubbers, a type of sulfur filter, were installed to comply with new environmental rules. By 2020, the coal PM2.5 death toll dropped by 95% to only 1,600 people. So basically they went from 43,000 deaths per year to 1,600 deaths per year as a result of simply using filters and having scrubbed and cleaned power plants. Big difference. By linking records of where Medicare beneficiaries lived and when they died, we found that risks due to PM2.5 from coal were way higher than the risks related to PM2.5 from all other sources, said the co-author of the study, a professor of biostatistics, population and data science from Harvard University. Now, this information has all been verified by the Harvard Public Health Institution, and they basically say that this information is probably understating the reality. They believe there's probably been significantly more deaths than this 460,000 number. Coal use, fortunately, is declining in the United States. The second biggest coal company in the US recently went bankrupt. But there is still more than 200 coal-fired power plants accounting for 20% of electricity generation in 2022, according to the US Energy Information Administration, or the EIA. So where are these plants? Indiana, Kentucky, and Texas have the most operational coal plants, followed by Illinois, Missouri, and Pennsylvania. Now, if you live in those states, make sure you're aware of where the power plants are and that you are not within close proximity, so you are not going to suffer these effects. Because trust me, you will get them. It's just a matter of time before you get some sort of effect. It could be cancer. Early cancer is a pretty shocking way to die. Globally, coal-generated power is still rising, with South Africa, China, India, and Poland among the countries most dependent on the dirtiest of all fossil fuels. As countries debate their energy sources, and as coal maintains a powerful, almost mythical status in American energy law, our findings are highly valuable to policymakers and regulators as they weigh the need for cheap energy with the significant environmental and health costs, says Dominici. Now, recent numbers show it's cheaper, much cheaper now to build a solar and battery power plant than to just continue operating most existing coal plants worldwide. So, fortunately, our children will inherit a better world and a better environment as a result of most of these coal plants having closed, and by the time they reach their middle age, almost all of them will be closed. But we can accelerate this. We don't have to have any more people dying as a result of these coal power plants. They should be shut. They don't need to be opened. There are other alternatives. Thank you for watching.